et cetera, and et cetera. But see, you got to look at me. You got to pay attention to me. Because if you don't pay attention to me, I mess up the whole thing. I'm the only one in here. You can't mess this show up. I'm the only one in here that can mess this show up. And so, pamper me.
I mean, you got to look at me.
Okay, I'm always looking at you. I got my eye on you. I got my eye on you. Okay, really. Okay, but
I give you what I got.
okay, I know. Yeah, I can understand that. I certainly understand that. And it's not as a criticism, but I just pamper me. You know, said Dr. Haney. If I don't look at Dr. Haney, let Dr. Haney know, he'll just keep on running, and then he'll run out of time and whatever. That's what I tell Reverend Reuben Dockery here. That hey, I'm the only one that can mess this up. Can't nobody else mess it up but me. And if it get messed up, who they look at? And that's cause I mess it up.
It go good, it's on you.
It's on me.
It go bad.
God is good, and you know that.
I think it's getting better all the time.
Oh yeah. Okay, but really, so what we'll do, we'll talk about this political participation. And I want you to go into it, Doctor, you know, and bring in your stuff as much as you possibly can, but you know, don't.
I understand.
You understand. Because African American political participation. Thank you, and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Reverend Dockery in reference to African-American political participation, and I would imagine, Dockery, the climate in terms of African-American participation, and I think you've already indicated that African-Americans come out to vote when they feel that there's a special interest. That's and I think you talked about President Obama's election and et cetera. That got everybody fired up. But the most important thing I think that all people are trying to point out here is that there's such a very, very small representation of voters when we talk about the political process. And whether you talk about African Americans or the general vote, it's not African Americans, it's the voting of people, period. As a matter of fact, I think somebody said that only 6% of the voting population vote. And that sounds like it's insane to me. Had somebody raised that question, I would have said at least 60 or 70%. But 6%, that's only 6 out of 100 voters? Talk about it.
And it should be alarming. So let's look at this from a historical perspective. It's been about 5 generations now since we've had suffrage rights for African Americans. 1870, actually 1865, when President Lincoln, for his assassination, was pushing for the place of African Americans as free individuals with the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. Frederick Douglass pressed him and said, you cannot set them free without giving them the quintessential right of a citizen, and that's the right to vote. And by 1870, I think it was February, the 15th Amendment was enacted as a part of the Constitution, which gave black men at that time, black women still were not allowed to vote, black men the right to vote. 7 men, black men, Negroes at that time they were called, went to the United States Congress. And they were there until about 1929, I believe it was, when they began to dwindle in terms of African American representation in Congress. And it was a long period of time before you had any more. Interestingly enough, it was the Republican Party that African Americans first embraced in terms of casting their vote. Frederick Douglass became a runner with the Liberty Party of that time, and he was actually ran as on a vice presidential ticket. I say that to say that I think for African Americans then, or Negroes as they were called aptly, the focus was not about a particular love for a particular party, but for the party that was supporting their freedom, their liberation, their opportunity to be a part of the American way of life. And that continued until about 1937, I believe it was, when Roosevelt brought the New Deal on, 35 when he brought the New Deal on. And that appealed to African American voters. And many of them supported him. And subsequently they supported Truman. And he won 47% of the African American vote in 1947, you know. And as it moved forward, African Americans have been a part of the Democratic platform from then to now. Over the years, many of them, certain movements in the 60s and what have you, the Voters' Rights Act, it was supposed to try to do what the 15th Amendment was not doing very well. Right?
Give black folk, bring black folks out in political participation.
Extend them the opportunity to actually be a viable part of America through the right to vote. Now, a lot of people say, even to me as a minister, why would you be interested in politics? Well, the truth of the matter is, Black's Law Dictionary defines citizenship as being a member of a political community. So if you live in the United States of America and you're a citizen, if you're going to be heard, if you're going to be respected, if you're going to be a part, you must avail